to have everybody here this afternoon. I see lots and lots of familiar faces here. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure to meet yet, I want to introduce myself. I am Susan McTiernan. I have the pleasure of serving as Dean of the Gabelli School of Business. As I told the group of alumni earlier today, this is one of my very favorite events out of the many, many, many events I go to all year long. So it's great to be back here again to hear from the CAFE program about their investment strategy for the last several months. We have lots of great people and great supporters of the Gabelli School here with us today. The members of the Advisory Council are here today. We met earlier this afternoon. And we have some very, very good friends of the Gabelli School here who have supported the school through the campaign for CAFE, which I'll talk about a little bit more at the end of this presentation by the students. But before that, I'd like to turn the microphone over to our president, Dr. Donald Farish, for some words of welcome. Dr. Farish.
Thank you, Susan. And this is a kind of ceremonial time of year, as we have again in the spring semester just before commencement. I find myself this week going to lots and lots of student presentations. Our students are very active right across the entire university community, and this is the time of year when they're showing their wares. But one of the premier programs that we have on this institution is the CAFE program, under the very able direction of Dr. Michael Melton. And I don't think I've missed a CAFE presentation in the time I've been here, but I certainly have been at the great majority of them. And they really do represent the very best of what we do. This is not a program that is like everybody else's program. This is a unique program. We contest with the very best in the country with our CAFE program. We're a small institution named after an individual who is well known in the state of Rhode Island and not well known outside of the state, which is its own problem. Roger Williams deserves to be better recognized, as does the university. And it's through programs like this that we get better recognition. So it's not just for this afternoon's entertainment and interest, watch what the students are doing. We know these students go out and establish very successful careers for themselves. And in the relatively short time the CAFE program has been in place, more than 90 of those graduates, all of whom are relatively young people, have contributed back to the program, have given money to the program in order to help it continue to grow. Because you know how this works. You can never rest on your laurels. You always have to up your game. And one of the things that we try and do every year is send these people on international trips. So they get a sense not just of investing in America, but how things are going around the world. Because after all, investing these days is a global business. That costs money. And we've been very, very fortunate to have the support of any number of people in assisting with those trips. But I just want to tell you today, I want particularly to give a shout out to Hans Christensen, who has just given me 2 checks, very generous checks, that no longer are covering the delta of the trip, but are covering the trip. And so this is going to take care of the next 2 trips that we do, and it's that kind of stepping up that makes all the difference in this program. So at the risk of embarrassing him, I just want to thank publicly Hans Christensen for his most recent gifts. He's been supporting us all along, but he's stepping up too. So, Hans, I'm going to invite you to come up and say a few words now that I've embarrassed you.
Thank you very much for that. For those of you who don't know me, I lost to Doc.
It's a Nebraska top.
Yes, I went to Indiana University. We lost in football. Basketball season. So when you see him wearing something from IU, you'll know. As the president commented, this is an unusual program I have, and I spoke a little earlier to some of the prior graduates. I got involved with student investing in 2002 at the RISE program, the second RISE program, and saw how people were, how trying to learn practical experience was being applied. And it was, as you would expect, you have people doing write-ups, making presentations to an investment committee. Actually, at the time, that was probably pretty normal. 8 years ago, when my son attended, I saw something that I had never seen at an undergraduate or even a graduate school. And it made a tremendous impression of something that I wanted to support and show that and demonstrate not only when you see the results and those of you that have gone and those of you who are about to present, no, this is different. That you are walking in with a combination of fear and pride, and you actually have to go out and do it for real. It's not make-believe. You're not simulating a job. You have a real job, and it is different. So, I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to fund some trips because, as the President pointed out, this is a global market. You compete for 5% of the world. For 5% of the world's population, 300 million people, 6 billion. I can do that arithmetic. I'm not really, We're 5% of the world, and we represent over 20% of global GDP, and by far the biggest capital market. But everybody's trying to catch up, not only outside the U.S., but inside the U.S. This is a marked program. This is a marked program. People are trying to compete with you. They see you win, and what business dean isn't looking to say, how do we do what they do? So hold them accountable. And guys, next time you're out there, you get on. Don't let up. Keep improving. When you see something in the real world, bring it back in. Tell Doc. Get involved. To stay in front. The competition is 100%. It is the world. So going on a few trips, I'm glad I can do that. You guys get to take over pretty soon. Eventually I have to have something to eat. But thank you very much. I'm sorry I overspoke.
Thank you very much from all of us at Wicked Valley School of Business and for all of our students who will benefit from your very generous donation and contribution. With that, we will get the main event underway.
We would like to begin first by thanking Mr. Christensen on behalf of everyone in the CAFE program. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the presentation. My name is Carla Puccini.
I'm Luke Nigra. And I'm Ryan Lambert.
And we are the Associate Directors of the CAFE Portfolio Management Program, who, only 7 months ago, were in the position of the 11 student fund managers standing before you today.
On behalf of our director, Dr. Michael Melton, we'd like to start off by introducing these 11 equity analysts who are very excited to present these 2 portfolios to you today.
Student fund managers on my left are Megan Bishop, Carson Fredrickson, Chris Gilman, Ryan Jarvie, and Corey Case.
To my right, we have Adam Delmonico, Kristen Braley, Matt Broadley, Ty Lanciao, our conductor, Maria Manning, and Colette Elgazem, videotaping in the back.
I would now like to invite up Adam, Chris, and Megan to begin our presentation.
Today, we are fortunate enough to present our 2 real dollar portfolios, totaling a value of roughly $250,000. The CAFE program fosters our transition from student to industry professional. We actively manage 2 funds. One has a growth outlook, while the other takes a value approach.
This is essential to remember because managing 2 portfolios provides each student fund manager with a unique opportunity to learn 2 vastly different approaches to investing, both of which will be explained when discussing the portfolio methodology for each fund. This experiential learning process allows for the merger of theory with practice in a way that no traditional classroom setting can provide.
We're involved in exclusive aspects of portfolio management, including the execution of our own trades. This forces us to recognize that from day 1, we're required to take on the role of both analyst and trader.
We truly hit the ground running at the beginning of the semester. For example, we met as a group for the first time on a Wednesday, and by Thursday, Doc and our ADs gave us first of many what we like to call all-nighters. This gave us the opportunity to overcome a huge learning curve while familiarizing ourselves with industry-level platforms such as Bloomberg and Money.net that supply information in real time.
This state-of-the-art technology provides ample opportunity to model information like a true industry professional. Now, I'm sure we can all agree, no matter how sophisticated your resources are, investing is not easy. We have learned firsthand that the market can turn on you at a moment's notice. Fortunately, this program has trained us to be ready for anything and to always expect the unexpected.
This was amplified by our exceedingly difficult investing landscape. Put yourselves in our shoes and understand the difficulties in navigating an inflated market, Brexit, fluctuating oil prices, and a presidential election. Given these challenging circumstances, we rely on the free flow of information stemming from the director all the way down to the student fund managers regarding decision-making and trade executions.
The CAFE program grants us first-hand experience prior to entering into industry, while rivaling training of entry-level professionals. Investing requires logic, knowledge, passion, skill, and in some cases, a bit of luck.
Now, we invite you to step into our shoes as we take you from the very beginning with the economic analysis.
As we've just mentioned, we have two portfolios with differing objectives. Now, regardless of each portfolio's objective, we understand the importance of the top-down approach, where all of the student fund managers were able to conduct the economic analysis.
Given the globalization of world economies and the way in which all markets are intertwined, a complete international and domestic economic analysis is imperative to the success of any portfolio, as Carson will begin to explain.
In the CAFE, we recognize the need to complete a global analysis and then begin investing based on macroeconomic trends. Now, contrary to most asset management firms, which take a bottom-up approach, we take a top-down approach, as it is more comprehensive and thus prepares us better for industry.
As a newly found group of individuals, we had to come together and develop the base on which our investment decisions would be made. We analyzed 30 developed and emerging countries from Australia to Luxembourg, identifying the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Behind me is a chart displaying the economic outlook of the various countries, along with their driving sectors. We also identified 5 metrics that are internationally accepted and transparent enough to rely on. A few examples include GDP, market performance, and trade balance.
When analyzing these metrics, we look for trends as opposed to absolute values, simply given the fact that cultural disparities can skew these statistics. An example of this comes into play when looking at France and Germany for unemployment.
France's unemployment rate is considerably higher due to a difference in cultural values. Germany's unemployment rate is around 4%, while France's is around 10%, and therefore we cannot solely rely on absolute numbers, as this would indicate that Germany is better positioned.
However, in reality, both trends are decreasing, moving in similar patterns. Keeping these metrics in mind, we went on to identify specific sectors within each economy that we saw as a driving force.
Given the introduction of new wealth in emerging markets, we saw ample opportunity for investing. As GDP per capita increases, we'd expect to see these countries become increasingly susceptible to new healthcare risks. As China is the #1 emerging market in the world, we saw opportunity in the healthcare sector.
Despite our domestic outlook, we could not pass up the opportunity to invest in such a lucrative market. Accordingly, we invested in China by a lot.
Following our international analysis, we conducted a domestic study on 13 economic indicators. A few examples include CPI, money supply, and non-farm payroll.
We differentiate these indicators by leading, lagging, and coincidental. Those that are leading help us in projecting future economic movements.
On the other hand, lagging indicators reflect the past, while those that are coincidental give us a glimpse into the current economic stance.
Now, these indicators may not have blanket market implications, but instead may only speak to